So first and foremost,
I think the addition of pant leggings is really when you start to see your heroes get watered down.
can't even muster the ability to play straight pants that one.
Which is a good argument for absolute rulers.
Everybody is going to get behind me. They're all going to love me, and my support numbers will go through.
When you hang out with the hero, it doesn't go well for you.
My grandfather
Yeah.
took the cob and just slid it right through the bar.
Oh, God. Okay.
And that became the dominant way our family did it.
Okay.
And so, in both of my marriages, they were treated to that.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Yeah, rage haiku.
How do you imagine the rubber chicken plant?
My grandmother actually vacuumed in her pearls. Oh my God, it all makes sense. We'd had the sexual revolution.
It
and-
might have just been a Canadian standoff. We're going to go back to 9/11.
Dude, get over it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody understands what the Bill of Rights is supposed to be.
Agra has no business being that thick.
When the cultists win, we all lose.
This is a Geek History of Time.
Where we connect nerdery to the real world. My name is Ed Blaylock. I'm a world history and English teacher up here in Northern California. And this week, I actually managed to achieve the same level in Call of Duty that Damian and producer George have been at since the day we started playing together. I finally have those 5 little stars next to my name, and I finally, more importantly to me, I finally unlocked the China Beach.
Oh, yeah.
So now Damian and I can lob grenades at one another from across the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
I still haven't quite figured out how to gauge the aim entirely, because once you go to indirect fire,
Mm-hmm.
I'm consistently overshooting. I'm constantly I want to put it. Like you're in the window of green, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to put it just over the truck.
Yeah.
On the other side, and I'm regularly lobbing it across the alley and outside the battle space because nobody actually goes out there.
Right.
But yeah. And I have now played just shotgun duels against you and
Yep.
producer George. And against, what was my record against you?
I don't know. I mean,
think it was it was 8-6.
Yeah,
you got me. Yeah, it was within 2. No, producer George,
Well, I told him he didn't have to take it
wrecked me.
easy on you.
you told him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
don't bother.
Well, that's true. That
Yeah.
is true. You had said no, we don't need to take it easy. I don't think he would have to begin with. But yeah, so that's my piece. I'm very proud of that.
You should be.
Coming from a learner mindset position, it's like, oh no, I actually am getting better at this. So that's me and what I got going on. Who are you?
Well, I'm Damian Harmony. I am a Latin and drama teacher up here in Northern California. And this week, good heavens, there's not much going on. I did manage to buy my daughter the Speeches of Sojourner Truth, and also got my son reading because she was studying that in 4th grade. And
Okay.
I did not like the very whitewashed curriculum they were using, even though it actually mentioned Sojourner Truth and stuff like that. It used terms that I didn't like.
So okay,
Yeah.
so here's a question, because I'm sure you're familiar with this. Did her school's curriculum use the transcript of her speech that
No.
was actually the transcript of her speech that she gave?
No.
Or was it the one that was published by
Neither. Neither.
Really?
No, it was more about just her life. I mean,
Okay.
3rd
Okay.
graders, so
Okay.
her life, and it talked about she was a slave. This is true. I said start using the word enslaved person. It talked about her owners. I said no, they were slaveholders. They were people who kept other people in slavery. Use those words, and she had a problem with that because that's not what the book said. Now, she wasn't challenging me on that at all.
Yeah,
she was like, no,
yeah.
these words work a lot more, but I could see her brain working like, I want to do right by my teacher here. And so I emailed her teacher and said, here's what I'm using. Here's the list of words that I've told her to use. I appreciate that your curriculum includes Sojourner Truth, but could you please give room for Julia and support her on this? And she absolutely did, and that was great. So this
Awesome.
summer, they're reading, because I assign my kids reading in the summer.
Yeah.
They read one, and then they get to read what they like, and then they read
one,
and
and they get to read. Okay.
So she read March by John Lewis, and then she read Barefoot Gen. Yeah, and then
Wow.
yeah, well, you know
wow.
what? Yeah, I mean, he was her age when it happened, so
Yeah.
it's from his
Okay.
perspective, seems fair. Wow. And then she got to read what she wanted for a bit, and now she's back to it, and she read They Called Us Enemy by George Takei.
Wow.
Which I loved that she chose that. And
Just out of curiosity,
Sure.
do you know what her Lexile level is? What is
clue.
her? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know her IQ. I don't know her Lexile level.
Okay.
And I kind of don't want to.
Well, no, I totally, I get that, but I'm just thinking, like, George Takei's book is not written for fourth graders.
No, but it's a comic book, so
Okay,
it's
okay,
accessible,
okay. Oh,
you know.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
okay,
They
okay.
Called
Yeah,
Us
it's a
Enemies.
graphic novel. Okay,
So
right,
everything
right.
I've assigned has been graphic novels.
Okay.
So now I got her Sojourner Truth's speech, as well as a few other speeches, just in a little, like, those Penguin Classics. For
Yeah, okay.
$5.
Okay, yeah.
And then I also got her the autobiography of Emmeline Pankhurst.
Oh, okay.
So she's starting to read that as well. So yeah, and my son, he's now reading March because I made sure to trade it off and stuff like that. But he's also very deeply into reading How to Clicker Train Your Cat. So that is taking all of his time right now. So which I have zero problem with. So that's what's going on around here.
I love how metaphorically your kids are Luke and Leia.
Yes.
Like,
or Jason and Jaina, quite honestly. Like,
yeah, well, yeah.
But yes.
But in my own head, I'm totally like Luke and Leia.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
But yeah.
Very cool.
So when last we spoke about Dune, I
prior to friend of the show, Teo Morgan's visit,
my head was spinning.
Okay,
with so much sand, and so much.
I hate sand; it gets everywhere.
This is why Anakin never went to Dune.
Or did he?
A good point.
Yeah, well, anyway, later.
Yeah.
Question for another time.
So
for later on.
Catch me up to where we were. I remembered the plot.
Okay,
by and large.
we had gone into. We'd gone through the plot. We'd gone through the world building.
Yes.
And we had gotten into talking about the themes that Herbert was talking about, or that are central. How much he was intentionally talking about them.
Right.
And how much they're just kind of there because of the way he chose to frame the book. Like it's really clear there are some of these things that we're talking about that we're like, no. I, Frank Herbert, have big ideas about this. God damn it. And you're going to listen to me. And then there are other things where you're just like, no, you chose to set this on a planet that was very clearly built around having seen Lawrence of Arabia one too many times, as at some kind of formative age. And so there's all kinds of shit to unpack there.
Yeah.
And so if I remember correctly, we talked about the theme of colonialism.
Yep.
We talked about empire and the politics of power. Discussed the idea that it's built around this idea of the Padishah emperor being the ruler of a hydraulic empire. Everybody is dependent on spice.
Right.
Arrakis is the only place where you can get it. And the last thing I have in my notes was the idea that even supreme power, like the Shaddam IV at the beginning of the book, Shaddam IV is in this position where he is literally the most powerful single individual in all of human space.
Right.
Okay. He can order a planet burned to a blister.
Right.
Like he has the power to do that.
But once he does,
yes. And so his power is like, he's got to keep all these plates spinning. Everything is balanced on the point of a spear.
Yes.
And he has to keep working to keep everything moving.
Right.
Because the equilibrium is dynamic, and if one of those things falls apart, he's boned.
Essentially, if he's got all this power, but the second he uses it, I mean, like I'd said before, it's like a nuclear weapon, right?
Yeah.
There was a wonderful play called Other People's Money, which then got turned into a movie, And the guy that Danny DeVito played in the movie,
Yeah.
he said, I've got all these lawyers. He says lawyers are like, what did he say? Lawyers are like nuclear bombs. If you've got a lot of them, it's good to threaten people with. But as soon as you let one out, it fucks everything up. Which,
Yeah. Yeah.
So he basically, if you're one of the nobles, you kind of want to outmaneuver someone into being the first one to get smacked.
Yeah.
And then you want to hang back while the others go after him, and then you insert yourself.
Oh yeah, and it's all everybody playing after you, sir.
Right.
No, after you.
Right.
And
are you a coward? How dare you?
How dare you? Yes. Yeah. And like the whole situation at the beginning of the book is like Leto's whole position at the beginning of the book is, I have been pushed into a trap.
Right.
And I know that it is one. I'm going to go in, but I'm, my only chance is I've got to turn the trap into a weapon to turn on the people who are trying to kill me.
Right.
And so that theme of Machiavellian kind of plotting and Byzantine power structures, the statements that Herbert is making about politics and about power are very neatly crystallized in that at the beginning of the book. And then everything else that happens after that is variations ad nauseum on, that point.
It feels like there was a lever that got pulled, and then we're just watching everything unfold.
Yes.
Like it's like a watch, and you unwind the spring, and so you just watch the coil go where it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's remarkable that you use that analogy, because one of the other things that is a theme that keeps coming up over and over again in not only the first book, but then in the later ones,
is the mega violence. And so it's a clockwork, but it's on Dune, so it's orange.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice. Yeah. Not even mad about that one.
Okay.
Nicely done.
Okay.
And it's ultra violent.
Ah, God damn it.
Yeah.
I couldn't get past
a little of the old ultra violence. Yeah. So, and the less said about that beyond the pun, really the better. Yeah. But the theme of fate and destiny.
Oh, okay.
And like Paul is aware of his terrible purpose, capital T, capital P, like throughout the book. And he's trying to find a way to thread the needle, as I talked about. Right. And his consciousness being so vastly expanded
because they've been planning for 5 generations.
Yeah, because everything has been built up, and he's the culmination of this whole breeding program, and his parents training him from a young age to be a mentat, and him saying, okay, yes, I'm going to go forward with it. And I mean, like all of that, there is this, like, he is living through the experience of being able to predict where the spring is going to go, and having to try to thread his way
kind of backward engineer.
Backward engineer. But then there's always the limitations on how much can he actually act on the timeline? How much can he actually affect? And so there's these overarching ideas about fate and destiny, and the Gestalt psychic destiny of the human species.
Okay.
Because
those are big ideas.
Huge big ideas. And
a little self-indulgent, to be perfectly honest.
Hugely self-indulgent. Like everything else in the Dune series, nothing is done with half measures.
Right.
The self-indulgence is like, no, I'm just gonna whack off. No.
I have a silly question, especially now that you said I'm just gonna whack off.
Okay.
At any point, does Paul end up blind?
Not in the first book.
Oh, interesting.
No.
Okay. Does he fall off his sandworm?
No.
Okay.
No.
Just
because
very easy biblical.
Kind of. No, he does wind up blind in the second book.
Okay.
He gets a low yield, a very specific kind of nuclear weapon that Herbert kind of created for his universe, called a stone burner.
Okay.
Is set off, and the flare of that burns out his eyes. But by that time, his prescience is so powerful
that it doesn't matter.
Like he's able to have whole conversations with people that he knows,
right?
Like the whole thing from beginning through to the end.
Sounds a lot like Matrix 3.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little messianic.
And we can get into influences
Absolutely. Okay.
in a minute. So that's we've now bounced around a bunch, but talking about empire, politics, and power, talking about Paul and fate, then brings us into the theme of expansion of consciousness.
Right.
This was something that was clearly really close to Herbert's heart. Like,
and you talked about that too, about how he went in. You know, you have the desert, you have the mushrooms.
Yeah,
yeah.
He was a user of mind expanding substances.
Right.
He was very clearly reading Leary and
Huxley.
Huxley.
Yeah.
Clearly,
I thought you meant Leary with an A for a minute. Leery.
Yeah.
Reading Leary, what's he leery of?
What's he leery about? Yeah, no. He was very clearly influenced by, everybody, the wing of popular culture, of the intellectual cadre of society who were calling for, no, seriously, this is a tool for everybody to expand their consciousness. We need Leary was saying, no, everybody needs to drop acid.
Right. And Huxley was saying, no, it should just be for
the intellectuals and the intelligentsia. The Beatles, everybody smoke pot. Like,
right.
Seriously, that was a thing going on in the Zeitgeist. And so we see his main character, expanding his consciousness not only into becoming a mentat, who's a superhuman computer, like to replace computers,
right?
But then going one step beyond that, because as it turns out, he is this prophesied Kwisatz Haderach, who then is that ne plus ultra,
right?
And he spends a huge amount of time in the book, pages and pages in the book, describing the experience of Paul having these moments where he is dissociated from himself, because his consciousness is he's now looking across the valley of the immediate present to the mountains of the future.
Okay.
Yeah. And that, like, there are times where in his consciousness there's this vast gulf that he can't see. Right. And he knows that those are all the timelines in which something goes wrong and he dies. And then on the other side, he starts seeing other stuff.
Now, you keep bringing this up, and I'm wondering if it's because you watched Loki at all. But, like, you're talking about different timelines, a multiverse.
Yes.
And that's something that Herbert had dabbled in.
Herbert doesn't, in the Dune universe, he doesn't talk about the idea of multiple timelines existing simultaneously.
So it's more a function of the clairvoyance.
Yeah, it's a function. It's a function of the clairvoyance, and it's a function. It's quantum,
right,
in its nature. It's right now. The cat is both dead and alive.
Okay,
right.
And you can see both,
and you can see both of those futures.
Gotcha.
Now, if you're the cat, you only see the future in which you're alive, and there's a dead space over here where, no, you didn't make it, which is Paul. But so Paul has this vastly expanded consciousness that eventually is so expanded that he's actually able to go into genetic memory. Like
right, you said
held memory,
and that's something that was possible for the women. They could only see the one line,
the female half of experience. He can go in and see the male half of experience. Okay, and so he's not the only one who has this expanded consciousness, and that's something I kind of want to go into, is because this is not just about expanded consciousness; it's kind of post-humanism.
Okay,
because he's not just human. He is something past, normal human potential. He is
the next evolution.
He is the next, or I think what Herbert was kind of trying to have us think about was, we utilize computers to do all of this math, but if we unlocked our potential, we wouldn't need them anymore.
Right.
If we expanded our consciousness, if we trained people the right way, eventually on some psychic kind of level, the potential would be unlocked for humans to do these things, for humans to preternaturally control their vocal tone and be so tuned in and paying such close attention that they could read somebody within a matter of 5 or 6, transactions and be able to know this is how I need to say this in order to get this reaction.
And if everybody's doing that, then you're taking, what do you call it? Communication.
Yeah.
To just a very much next level.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so there's this huge emphasis within the books on kind of transhumanism. Guild navigators, explicitly, he says, after a certain point, they're not fully human anymore.
Right. Yeah.
They physically change into forms that are fish-like, and are not. Their consciousness is so vastly expanded that they can't reliably relate to normal people.
Right.
On a regular basis,
Well, yeah, and again, you're going to talk about influences later, but I'm just thinking Minority Report, you have the precogs. I do get a kick out of
Philip
the fact...
K. Dick really clearly, I'm sure he'd read it and went, let me drop a couple of tabs
but
and
also,
think about this harder.
Also the fact that they're in water.
Yeah.
Also the fact that you just said they go back to fish-like.
Yeah.
Which I said back to on purpose because it occurs to me that we're talking about humans that are so, I'm going to say evolved, that they have gone from mammalian back to ichthyon again.
Okay.
And there's something, the ocean is vast, the desert is vast, but there's something really interesting to me about the universality of you, because you specifically mentioned fish-like.
Yeah.
The simplicity of a fish, for instance, but also just we are all kind of, you go back far enough, we got that common ancestor.
Well, yeah.
So I'm just, I'm thinking, what might have popped into his head as he was going.
Well, and there's also the idea of evolutionary regression. Like you evolve to a certain point and then there's nowhere to go but back.
Yeah,
being a theme,
well, and since
and
he's looking at empires, you already have the going up in your work boots, coming down in your slippers.
Yeah,
so
kind of.
Humanity could be doing the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he spends this huge amount of time talking about this. He talks about he spends pages discussing Lady Jessica's awakening into becoming a Reverend Mother.
Okay.
Which is what Paul does on a slightly smaller scale.
Right.
Well, actually,
right.
on a massively smaller scale.
I was going to say it's less codified too.
Yes.
He's the or the proto.
Well, he is what they've all been preparing for.
Right.
She's doing something that's been done many, many, many times before by many, many other women.
Much more refined.
Much more, with the difference being that she is pregnant when she does it, and so Alia goes through the experience and winds up actually becoming aware as part of it while she is still a fetus. Which gets explored in exhaustive detail later in the series of books. Alia winds up becoming a fascinating character later on in fully in her own right. But so the theme of expansion of consciousness winds up being one he keeps going into. Like we're focusing right now just on Dune, but in the series of books afterward, that's part of the evidence for this is something he really had shit he wanted to say about it, because he builds out Alia and Paul's children wind up being powerfully psychic, and it's without spoiling anything for anybody who hasn't read the rest of the books. I mean, it's been a very long time, but I still, if you haven't read the series, do it.
Okay.
But anyway, so at the same time that he's doing all this talking about expansion of consciousness, he says some very, very pointed things about religion.
Okay.
Because there is a quasi-religious framing of Paul's experiences,
Right.
In the way that what he goes through is transcendence.
Yes. And there's also, I mean, you've got the time in the desert. I mean, there's a lot of parallels.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. The parallels to any number of messianic stories are all there.
Right, right.
But beyond that, Paul's experiences are ecstatic.
Mm-hmm.
They are transcendent. They are mystical.
Okay.
But at the same time, Herbert works very hard to thoroughly demystify them.
Okay.
There is a tension within what he writes as to, is Paul literally just, no kidding, he sees the future like it's a movie in his head?
Right.
Or is it that his cognitive abilities are so incredibly advanced that he's able to do the interstitial thinking from point A to point B to point C to point Z, Niner, Alpha, whatever, going many, many, many leaps forward.
Sure.
That he's just able to see it that clearly because he's doing the calculations that fast, like a graphics card in your computer, doing all of the minute calculations to make the picture flow seamlessly.
Right.
In a game or a video.
Right.
We never really know for sure whether it's math done really, really fast or no, he is in fact a prophet with a capital P.
Gotcha. That's what people ask me about my puns all the time.
Yeah.
Is my brain just overclocked, or am I a prophet? And it depends on the house.
Yeah, I've
and
heard
the take at the door.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Nice.
a lot of people
Yeah.
think it's my ability to see the future as to what someone's going to say, or is it that I've explored all the various delta realities? Yeah. So I understand completely what you're saying, just because of my puns.
Just because of
my puns. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will say, your ability with them is nigh unto preternatural. So I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
Like you can pull them out of everywhere.
Yeah.
Mostly your ass, but everywhere else too.
Yeah. They just come pouring out.
Yeah. Nice.
Thank you.
Nice. Well done.
Thank you.
Well, not
No sweat.
again. Not
No
even.
sweat.
Now I'm starting to get mad. Now. Now, yeah. So, but there's this. You have to kind of as the reader, you kind of have to make your own decision.
Sure.
About, is this again just overclocked brain math?
Or
is this a connection to some bigger thing?
Okay.
Like, is his sense of terrible purpose actually somehow a mystical connection to the Zeitgeist?
Right.
And then he says much more pointed things about institutional religion in the form of the Bene Gesserit being effectively their nuns, but they're nuns who get sent off to be the concubines of powerful men in order to continue bloodlines.
Okay.
Like, I mean, and they're
not
political,
celibate, but
and they are their own political faction that works very hard to look like they're not political, because they want to keep their agenda on the down low.
Right.
Which as he stands in front of the Emperor's court at the end of the book, Paul completely nukes that. He's like, no, I am what you've been, trying to form for the last, 5,000 years. I am it. And everybody watch the way she shivers, because I am what they've been planning for, and they have no control over me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's this big, I mean, it's a very Lynchian moment.
Yeah.
And it's sadly Lynch I didn't feel like Lynch gave it the full Lynch treatment.
Okay.
In the film.
Sure.
I feel like that particular exchange should have gotten a little bit more operatic kind of treatment. It wound up being kind of the background noise amidst, Sting shouting, "I will kill him," and leading up to the duel and the final climax.
Sure.
which was awesome too. Like there are lots of people who are fans of the book who really have very strong ambivalent and negative feelings about Lynch's version of the book. I love both of them. Like unabashedly, I like, there's so many things in that movie that are, okay, I'm going to take what Herbert did and I'm going to go fucking bonkers with it. And I love it. It's amazing. So, but anyway, I'm talking about the book. Sorry, I got off the subject there. But so the Bene Gesserit are a multi-pronged statement about organized religion, and a pretty cynical one.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Now, it also feels like a heaping helping of misogyny as well.
Yes, there is that. There is certainly the fact that this was written in the 60s by a cishet male science fiction writer.
Is that standard 60s sci-fi, or is that he had an axe to grind against women?
Yeah, no, I don't think he had an axe to grind against women. I think that's what the state of the tropes was.
Okay. Sure.
In the 60s. I mean, if you look at what popular literature was,
I was going to say, just look at Star Trek. Women are mini skirted up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Uhura is the communications officer, which is a position of, great
fourth in
authority,
charge,
knowledge, and everything else. And that's great. But then
also she's a secretary.
She's a secretary. And also every other woman that you see on the ship is a nurse.
Yep.
Or a glorified coffee fetcher.
Right. Literally. And they're called yeomen, which I thought for the longest time that was a rank on a ship. It
kind of is, but not. Yeah. Like, yeoman is a rating, if I'm remembering correctly, or it was until the Navy changed a bunch of stuff about.
Gotcha. Okay.
And interestingly, a yeoman in actual history going back farther than that was a non-noble man of arms. The King of England, Henry VIII in particular, had his own unit of his guys who were yeomen, who were essentially non-noble professional soldiers,
right? Who owned land too,
who were small landowners, right? And they were primarily archers,
right?
The Order of Yeoman Warders of the Tower of London are the descendants of that group.
Okay.
Today, so they wound up becoming the king's bodyguards.
And if I recall, they were given the shittiest land, which was down by like the marshes, so they were yeoman lowmen. Yeah. And because they used archery, they were yeoman bowmen.
Yeoman bowmen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I say good day, sir.
And a lot of them took in weaving as well. So they're yeoman, bowman, lowman, sewman.
Okay. So, God damn it. So see, and again, overclocked brain.
Yeah.
Or
did I set this up?
Did you set this
8
up?
podcasts ago?
No, I don't think. No. Overclocked brain. Yeah. In this case.
Yeah.
But so anyway.
Tropey women
the state of the tropes in the 60s was that if you're going to have a woman in a position of power, her power is going to need to be intrinsically tied to her sex.
Right.
Because that's the most powerful tool a woman has, Natch, if you're a science fiction writer in the 1960s.
Well done.
Yeah.
I don't think you meant to do that.
I didn't, well done. But I'll,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Everybody rewind by about 15 seconds, and you'll hear Ed be crass as hell about a woman's vulva.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. I'm retroactively embarrassed.
So, all right. So,
go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, so women, this is his cynical look at both women and religion.
Yeah.
Okay.
And continuing with his analysis of religion, there's also this really interesting thing that happens in his world building.
Okay.
Where you'll remember from before that he talks about the Fremen being descended from Zen Sunni mystics.
Yes. There's a blending that's happening.
There is syncretism going on, a synthesis of syncretic beliefs. One group of beliefs kind of melding with another set of beliefs and becoming something new.
Right.
And like
was there an Occidental equivalent? Because otherwise I'm going to call out a little bit of Orientalism here.
Well, he
per
also
Edward Said.
in the book he also talks about the Orange Catholic Bible.
Okay, so yes, there was.
There was.
Okay, so he's syncretic on both sides.
Yeah, he's syncretic on. Now,
the Elbe
interestingly, he doesn't talk about the, Sunni Baptist or I said actually more likely would be Shia Baptist, but that's my prejudices showing themselves. But he doesn't. There is no union of a Western religion with an Eastern philosophy.
So there is a bit of a divide
clearly,
through
there is a bit of
Constantinople. But
there is a bit of the Levant is like where nobody crosses that weird philosophical line, but there is very clearly this idea, and I think he kind of stumbled onto it, but I think it winds up being more potent than he thought. I think he was trying to find a way to show us just how far in the future this is. That like this is so far in the future that nobody, because we already talked about nobody ever mentions Earth. Like Earth never gets mentioned in the wider universe of Dune. It comes up that nobody remembers where we came from. Like we've forgotten where humanity actually, we don't know which planet it was we started on anymore because it's that far in the future. And this is, I think in his head, when he came up with these ideas, number one, the synthesis of Zen Buddhism and Islam was useful for him in trying to come up with a mindset or a religious kind of outlook that would be useful for his protagonist. And also, he was just doing it in order to show us, no, this is just that far in the future.
Right. Yeah, it can serve both masters.
It does. It's a neat little trick that does both at the same time. The thing is, though, I think because authorial intent don't mean dick.
Right.
I think there was also something else that he said that's less cynical about religion.
Okay.
In coming up with the idea of the synthesis of these different religious traditions, there is a statement about what religion does for us as a species, or what it is that draws us to maybe to change the framing a little bit. What it is, why it is that we are religious as a species, why we do this. And it ties in, I think, with his whole idea of there is this mass consciousness.
I would also say philosophically, it's tying in with Claude Lévi-Strauss with his Tristes Tropiques. Tristes Topics. It's three sad topics. No, sad topics.
Okay.
Or sad tropics. I don't remember. It's his memoir. But in it, he describes, as like 1955.
Okay.
He describes essentially structuralism.
Okay.
That take chicken. Okay. For example, chicken exists on multiple continents now, right?
Yes.
And everybody has in their family a recipe which differs from the dominant regional cultures just enough. But also we all know the regional cultures. Now this is the Damian Harmony version of what he's discussing.
Yeah.
But and then the regional culture is going to differ from this other region over here, and also language changes. And language is somewhat based on how we cook our chicken. That's, again, Damian Harmonyism.
Yeah.
But basically...
Context is everything. Linguistically speaking, context is everything. And you cannot ever 100% separate language from the cultural context in which it exists.
But even more importantly, there are inherent structures in humanity that we take something natural, eating, and turn it into something cultural, cooking.
Okay.
And therein lies the I would have taken fish, but there's so many inland people. But so his idea of structuralism is such that like we have these basic human needs that we answer in different ways based on our environments. And then of course it's nothing grown in a vacuum. So then this grows out of that, and therein lie the differences in the wonderful mosaic that you can have. And I say mosaic specifically because I think he thought of them as separate things. Feel free, Geek Timers, to correct me. And then you also have Noam Chomsky right around the 1960s talking about universal grammar, where he's talking about how pretty much every human, and he may have come away from this in his later studies, but in the 60s he brought up universal grammar, essentially, which was another structuralism. And it was essentially that yes, we're all different, but we all start with the same grammar: identifying yourself, identifying your chief verb, which is I hunger, and then identifying the person that will feed you. So you are the subject, you are verbing a direct object, you are objectifying people. And I would point out that Freud had died long since then, but other people took the baton and ran with that, and Jung talked about archetypes and stuff like that. And so, but you had like Noam Chomsky specifically talking linguistically about that. And it didn't matter what the language was.
Applied Jungianism.
Yeah. But it also didn't matter what the language was, because we're all starting as infants. And structurally, linguistically, we all come from that same need. I also remember talking to you about young Robert when he was a baby, and you were very frustrated. And do you mind if I share this, or do you might not remember?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I don't.
He was super baby, like a few days old, and I checked in on you, and you're just like, it's so hard to hear him cry. And I explained, I was like, the only time he has ever felt hunger is yesterday and today. Each pain is the worst pain he's ever felt.
Yeah.
And he never felt hunger because he had an umbilical cord. So now that's been severed and he hurts. So the only way he knows how to communicate is to cry. That's literally the only tool he has. So he's going to use that until he finds others, and it's going to take years. But I remember, and I said also, any gut pain that he's got, it's the first time he's moving stuff through his intestines, really. Yeah. And so that's also the worst pain ever. And he's going to communicate that because he doesn't know what else to do. And I was drawing very much on Chomsky, when I was explaining it. And I remember I probably could scroll back in our messages, and you're like, wow, that really helps.
If you go back far enough,
but yeah, so it seems like in that same time, and if you look at the utopianist that was fuckboy Roddenberry,
you want to talk about a case where the monkey meant the angel. Anyway,
I like that idea.
But I wish I could take credit. I don't remember who it was. There's Geek Timers, if you know what
the monkey meant
bon
the angel.
mot I'm referring to, and that's not even actually the quote, but it's talking about humanity being, people being a union of ape and angel.
Right.
And I wish I could remember who it was who said it, but like Roddenberry is a great example of like all these aspirations, and then you look at how he led his personal life and you're like, wow.
Well, it's interesting too, because you talk about because we came down from the trees to become human.
Yeah.
So we separated more from the angel.
Yeah.
We were closer. Yeah. When we were apes.
Yeah.
But we still are, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
But you look at fuckboy Roddenberry, and his utopianism was we're all the same. The only differences, therefore, are the words that we use, which are environmental ultimately.
Yeah.
And the way that we cook chicken.
Yeah.
And the colors of our skin, which all three of those are environmental.
Yeah.
And so it's very interesting that Herbert is using giant ass sweeping stuff to get back to the same spot that everybody in the 60s
was kind of coming around to.
Right. And and what's interesting is that intelligentsia, I mean, that is guiding the first half of the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not guiding. They're pinging off of each other in the same
I think that'd be a better way of putting it. They're pinging off of
because it's, hey, we're all the same, therefore we deserve the same rights. And then white America just kept killing all people, and then they're like, fine, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, rightly so.
Yeah.
But and I bet you if he had written this book 10 years later, it would have been very different. There would have been irreconcilable differences between.
Oh, there would have been. Yeah. His vision of what the very far future would look like, those details would have been very different.
Far more schismatic. Okay, so anyway, I stole the rope.
But I think I want to stick for a second with that, because you talked about Jung and all of those being built off of Jung building off of Freud. And I'm certain, like I am more sure about this than and lots of other things that I've talked about in this series. I am sure that Jung's ideas of archetypes and Jung's ideas of universal subconscious were fundamental to Herbert's whole outlook when writing this book, especially the idea of universal subconscious. I don't think he uses that phrase directly, but he refers to the concept by a different name over and over and over again. And so I mean, it's really clear that those ideas were part of the undercurrent of philosophical and moral thought kind of at the time. And again, I want to go back to, while we're talking about that, I want to reiterate, maybe not go back to, but I want to bring back up that Dune really is one of the first major soft science fiction works in this new era of science fiction. It was part of its, and I'm going to talk about its influence kind of mostly in our next episode, but this is a good place for him to put a pin in that. Right. Because those Jungian ideas, the, universal grammar.
Universal grammar.
Universal grammar. And those ideas circulating were the ideas that were in sociology, that were the ideas that were in political science, they were the
guiding school of thought at that time.
Yeah. And so he set out to write this science fiction story that wasn't about wasn't just about I've come up with, I'm going to play with what would it look like if we had faster than light travel. Right. Like, no, I'm going to use a science fiction story to tell a story about empire and about politics and about these other social ideas. And so I think that's really important to remember when we're talking about his statements on religion and all these other things, that this was a big deal within science fiction. And I can expand on that later on, but the last thing I want to bring up in this episode is Herbert says a lot about human relationship to technology and at the same time a relationship to ecology and the environment, and they're obviously intertwined. And so the technology of the far future that he envisions is one in which las guns are a thing. Personal force fields are a thing. But radio still is recognizable as radio. Like in one of the big battle scenes, there is a Fedaykin death commando who is the radioman who's hunched over a big panel, cathode ray tube radio set,
It's so funny that and it makes perfect sense back then. I mean, I remember when Iron Man started using transistors in the comics.
It was a huge big deal.
And they made a big deal out of it. And prior to that, he was plugging into the wall. Because, Stan Lee's understanding and Jack Kirby's understanding of electricity was that, and how Star Trek, the original series, I keep coming back to it because it was kind of the ore of it all, is that look how far we can go on vacuum tube technology.
Oh, yeah.
You're like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And looking back on it as children of the 70s, 80s, we're looking at it like, no, man. Yeah. Like, within our lifetime, we have watched devices shrink.
Yeah.
So,
well, you remember in the Next Generation. Yeah. They turned into isolinear chips.
Yes.
And, I mean, that's flash drive technology. That's which made sense because we had hard disks. Well, we had floppy disks that were the 3.5s. Yeah, and we were working our way to zip technology eventually, and on and on. Oh yeah. But isolinear chips. But I also do remember that when they first brought up the holodeck, if you watch the episodes from first season to third season, it's very different when it comes to holodeck because they wrote themselves into a couple corners. One was apparently there were no safeties on the holodeck because Picard did his like pulp 1930s.
Oh yeah.
Dicks.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff. He brought an expert, just some lieutenant, low grade junior lieutenant, who was an expert on 20th century, who gets shot with a bullet and dies.
Right.
And it's like, ooh, what? Like you have this dangerous ass technology on here. And then, he's walking by the holodeck, and Wesley and his friend come out, and a snowball hits Picard in the hallway.
Yeah.
And later on, you start to see, like, no, that doesn't happen. And Wesley falls in a lake and gets really wet, and he leaves leaking, and stuff like that. And then eventually, it doesn't do that, and we can undo that, and stuff like that. And so it's, yes, the shrinking of technology. So, yeah, you've got a radio man still.
Yeah.
They were still printing things on paper. Do you remember? And they had data tapes. On the original Enterprise.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. No, the assumptions, it's one of the limitations of the genre that there's a limit to how far you can imagine anything before you go, okay, no, now I'm just pulling that out of my ass. I can't write that. I gotta,
It can't be wireless.
Yeah, it can't be like the amount of computing power for those of you not here, for listeners, I'm holding up my iPhone, and the amount of computing power in this phone is, I don't even know what multiplier more powerful than the first iPhone.
Right.
And the first iPhone had some 10th power, I don't remember what number of powers of multiplication that the first iPhone had in terms of computing power over the computers that got us literally to the moon.
Well, I can tell you right now, the iPhone 6's clock is 32,600 times faster than the best Apollo era computers, and it can perform instructions 120 million times faster.
120 million.
Yeah, that was the iPhone 6 compared to the Apollo.
That's crazy,
isn't it?
And so, like, the limits on their imagination back in the 60s, like, of course you're still going to be printing stuff on paper. What else are you going to do?
Right.
Like, it's a document. What else are you going to do with a document?
Well, and I loved how they would show on, like, the computer screens, and they would scroll them like I'm playing Arachnid or something. They'd scroll them, and it would just be a card.
Yeah.
With stuff printed on it. It would be a library catalog card.
Yeah.
Of Harvey Mudd.
Yeah. And that says something about the paradigm, the dominant technological paradigm of the time. Remember that in the 1960s, you were still programming a computer with punch cards.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's how we program a computer.
Yeah. That's how you do it.
Like, the very idea
they'd say you feed it into the computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the very idea that you would be able to graphically interact with a computer in a way that was like, as we were talking, you're scrolling through stuff on your phone right now with a touch screen and visual icons.
Yes. Like, the very idea of that would have been, you only would see that in something being written by somebody who everybody was like, oh yeah, well, this is Philip K. Dick, and like, he's obviously on drugs. Like, to give you a comparison, the Apollo guidance computer was roughly equivalent to an NES. The thing that got a guy on the moon is the equivalent to Mario.
A couple of generations old.
Yeah.
Handheld.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, the technology, the technological paradigm that he was dealing with, was what it was. But his outlook on technology was kind of weird, because he was trying to make these statements about humanity and about the potential of humanity to transcend our current limitations, and actually he's kind of down on technology.
Okay.
Because he's ultimately trying to say that we are more powerful than any of the tools we could create or the tools we rely on.
Yeah, it feels very Thulsa Doom.
Very. Oh, yeah. Riddle of Steel.
Yes.
Yeah. He'd totally look at that and go, I like it.
Yeah.
Now I just got to figure out how to make it sound like something out of a verse from the Quran, and I'm
Right,
there. I'm going to
right.
put that in my main character's mouth.
Sure.
You know, and so he has this kind of ambivalence toward technology. And at the same time, the power of humanity with our technology to literally reshape a world is, remember that the start of the book came from his notes on a project to trap sand, to build up, use poverty grasses to fix dunes in place.
Right.
So this ecological kind of application of technology is something that he was really clearly fascinated with, and the visual of doing that to a desert was clearly something really, really powerful to him. But he's ambivalent about the technology that would be involved in making it happen.
Okay.
Or he's ambivalent about our relationship to the technology.
Right.
That would make that happen.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a little bit more to that. It's about the hand that guides the machine.
Yeah.
More for him, it sounds like.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, it's not ever framed as a moral ambivalence. It's not, is it right for us to do this? Because he's coming from the paradigm of the 60s, which was technology is going to make everything better, full stop. Technology...
Yeah.
And
also, I am become death.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is he's coming out of the science fiction tradition that came before him. I should be more precise.
Okay.
He's coming from the somewhat utopian outlook of, science fiction as a genre before him, which was, we have these tools, we're going to make the world a better place.
Right.
And so he looks at house nuclear weapons, the house atomics, as being a plot point and a thing that Paul uses to blow up a mountain range so he can get his army of crazed killers, to the people he needs them to fight. And he doesn't spend any time looking at the morals or the ethics of the technology involved. He doesn't get into, like, a next generation writer could take the whole idea of training somebody to be a mentat and go, let's really look at the ethics of training somebody from childhood.
Right.
It's explicitly stated, the earliest parts of the training have to be done without the trainee being aware of them. And then they have to be made aware of it. And then they have to make a choice. Well, let's look at the ethics of that.
Yeah. There's,
let's look at the power dynamic involved in, our kid, we hear that our kid has the potential to be a mentat, and so he can have a better life and get off this planet where we're just commoners and we're being ruled by this, feudal aristocracy. He can become useful to those people and move up in the world. So we're going to be good for him.
It'll also be good for us.
Could be good for us as well. Right. And let's look at the class ethics and dynamics. Let's look at the power dynamics.
But he didn't do that.
Herbert doesn't do any of that. Herbert is coming from a place where all of this stuff is ethically value neutral.
Does he do the same regarding religion? Because it seems like he doesn't. It seems like there is, like you said, there's a cynicism to the women. I forget what they're called.
The Bene Gesserit.
The Bene Gesserit.
There's a cynicism there. But he points out the hypocrisy involved, but he doesn't ever he doesn't make moral judgments. Herbert is not a moralist on any level. Like, he doesn't say what you are doing is wrong. He says, you all wanted to create this thing. Now you have it. You don't have any control over it. How foolish.
So it's more about power. Than
It's
everything.
everything.
It's pragmatism.
It's all very pragmatic
Okay.
in the most, not the beneficial pragmatism, the best for the most, but the is this going to work? Is this not going to work? Kind of pragmatism.
Do you think he's responding to the technocracy of the time,
might be.
which was kind of fading out by '60s?
Yeah.
Because it had clearly failed to answer some very moral questions.
Yeah.
But do you think he's responding in some to the technocracy of the time? Because technocracy is tactical nukes were suggested on the regular by American generals.
Yeah.
And it was, yes, it was, it's not that there wasn't a deeply moral issue there. There absolutely was. There had been people who'd been protesting the bomb since the bomb.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it just kept rolling on. They kept making bigger and bigger ones and then finding different platforms from which to launch. And the race was on no matter what. And it ceased to be a moral argument at the top and much more of a practical argument at the top. Hence, you have the argument that, like, well, no, actually, if we have more, then that will keep the peace. And you get into that
mutually assured that leads to mutually assured destruction.
And absurdism had tried to address it in the 50s, but moralism had too, and the technocracy just kept on plowing through. And then it became there seemed to be another layer happening. Was he still stuck in that, do you think? Because he'd hit his prime earlier? Or do you think he was just...
I genuinely think he just wasn't interested in making moral judgments.
Okay, fair.
I genuinely think he was coming from a position of beyond good and evil, to paraphrase
Nietzsche,
who he probably would have loved quoting and wouldn't really have gotten.
Right.
Because Nietzsche is on some levels very profoundly moral, but people like to talk about beyond good and evil. They like throw out the title of the work without like understanding. No, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, same that gets done with Machiavelli. Like, I was gonna say, it was a satire.
Yeah. I mean, those are the same people that have like a really big poster of Pulp Fiction into their 30s,
Yeah.
They think that Endless Jest was a book that you can impress people having known.
Yeah.
Okay. So I find it interesting that such a moralist as yourself really went for Herbert.
I really dig the universe.
I was gonna say you're also a big prose guy.
I'm a huge prose is part of it, and his prose is clunky in a lot of places, but he is working with.
You like soaring prose, though.
Yeah, well, I do. You do. There is that. Yeah. Yes, I'm guilty of that. But he creates these characters, and the charisma of the characters he puts on the page. Is enough to pick you up and carry you along.
Okay.
And for me, listening to the audio version of the book on my commute the last couple of weeks that I was driving to and from my old job, it was remarkable to me how the difference in experience of listening to it versus reading it was, in terms of what you're saying about you, the moralist. I'm like, whoa, back up. Hold on. I got to rewind that. Like, when I was listening to it, I think because it was more passive, I was not bought into actively reading off of the page. I was listening to other people talking. There was an element of my brain that was not bypassed.
Right.
Where I stopped. I was like, wait, that's literally a war crime.
Right.
Like, not just in the ultra distant future. That's like now.
Right. That's
like,
also
oh my God.
Yeah.
And there were aspects of the story that I paused. I was like, okay, wow, that's so immensely misogynistic. Holy crap, and had to like take a beat and then, start it back up and have those reactions because of the force of what he's putting on the page. When for me, I can't speak for anybody else, but when I was reading the book, there was I don't want to say propulsive, because it was slower than propulsive.
Okay.
William Gibson is propulsive. From the first moment you start reading Gibson, you're, snap. And
Oh, I
you're,
see.
And you're
Sucks you
moving.
in and you go.
Sucks you in.
Yeah.
And you are moving
Uh-huh.
at the speed of heat. He was passing through the terminal in Mexico City when the slam hounds caught up to him, and a crystallized flake of TNT blew him into, a bunch of pieces. That's the opening for one of his novels.
Gotcha.
And like from the first sentence, you're moving and everything is kinetic, and it sucks you in.
Okay.
Herbert is, I'm going to start having a conversation, and you're going to be so caught up in, okay, wait, what? Mm-hmm. Or you're going to be so caught up in what this character is thinking and the way I'm describing this character's reaction to this thing, that it's going to pick you up and carry you.
Okay.
It's not going to be moving at the speed of heat. Everything moves very deliberately because I have very big ideas I've got to get across, and everybody has a literal mountain of exposition to explain.
Sure.
Because look at all the detail of my universe.
Right.
But in the process of reading it, those details catch you, and you're like, okay, I got to know. And so it's not propulsive, but it is magnetic.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
I would say would be a good analogy for it. And so, he says all of these really big things. Mm-hmm. He has all of these huge ideas, these huge themes that he's working with. And so I think this is where I'm gonna put a pin in it for now by saying that it's these huge ideas that make Dune important.
Okay.
Within the genre.
Okay.
And I think it's these ideas and his operatic delivery of them that turned it into the meme factory that it remains for us. It is, even if you haven't ever read the book, Dune is a cultural touchstone. Yeah. And I think the big ideas he talks about are ones that we are wrestling with constantly, that we were wrestling with in the 60s, that we continue to wrestle with. And so that's part of why, well, and we'll get into what exactly its role is in the next episode. Sure. But so based on that, what are you taking away?
So I mean, I thought this in a previous episode, but didn't get to the point where I'd said it out loud. But there are direct parallels for me between this and Star Wars in that they're both dealing with operatic themes, and that is like what you just said. That is why they continue to live as mimic founts, essentially.
Yes,
fonts.
And
fount. Yeah,
potato.
I
Dune, Arrakis, desert planet.
Sting.
Yeah.
Sting. It's either the guy coming from the rafters with a baseball bat, or it's the musician holding onto a sword that slays orcs. It's whatever.
Yeah, nice.
Thank you. I think the fact that he's dealing with such big things, I was thrown by the fact that it's I'm not gonna say amoral, but it's didn't care about making a moral thing. I have a hard time because there's deep morality in Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
deep. I mean the ultimate lesson that you can pull from Star Wars was boiled down by Sam Witwer, actually, in a podcast that I listened to years and years ago. And he said the basic theme of all the Star Wars movies has forever been, don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Like that's really it. Is.
Yeah.
DBAD.
And Will Wheaton's mantra.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
So, that there isn't one.
Yeah.
For Dune, I wonder. I just stuff like that fascinates me because like how can you have a deeply sprawling, multi-generational, so many, I mean, and like you said, just overall language and all this without having a moral compass to it.
Because it's a meditation on power.
Oh, that's so weird to me.
Because Star Wars is a myth.
Right.
Star Wars is a myth, and every myth has a moral lesson at the end of it.
Yes.
The story, I don't remember his name, but Apollo's son in the chariot.
Helios?
I don't remember,
No.
but
yeah.
his mortal demigod son who wants to ride the chariot across the heavens, but he gets distracted and he winds up, burning the planet. Apollo has to kill him.
Yeah.
Icarus, the story of Icarus.
Yeah.
The
Prometheus.
Prometheus. What's her name with the box? Pandora.
Pandora. Yeah.
Like all of those stories are, number one, they explain something about the world. Why is there evil? Well, because Pandora couldn't contain her curiosity.
Right.
And don't fly, don't get over ambitious, don't go beyond, don't overreach.
Right.
And all of these stories that also explain something, and Star Wars is very much in that mythic mode. Dune is not a myth. Dune is a meditation.
Oh yeah, that must be the difference.
It is an entirely internal framing for the story. And if you look at a lot of the trappings, the scenery chewing, the archness of the language, all of that kind of stuff,
right,
is like hard to escape. The similarities are inescapable.
Yeah. They're using the same vehicle. They're just going to two different Springfields.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. I like that. I like that analogy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it no wonder I haven't ever gotten into it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I think if it was a role playing game, I would love it.
Oh yeah.
Because I love a world.
Yeah. But
if there's no moral center to it, then I struggle with consuming it as, a movie or a book.
As passive media.
Yeah. Or active shit. I mean, I think reading is very active media, but either way.
Well, but you are maybe consumptive media as opposed to participatory media.
Yes. So yeah. All right. Well, that's what I've gleaned.
Okay.
Got any books you want to recommend?
Not immediately off the top of my head. I do not, but I see you have one here.
Yeah. I went down recently to my childhood bookstore. And I picked up The New Mutants, Superheroes and the Radical Imagination of American Comics by Ramsey Fawaz. I have not read it. I am intensely interested in it.
Okay.
And I am just sharing people what I'm reading.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to reading this as soon as I can. And it is thick and it is dense. It looks like it was signed over to someone else, so it was used.
Okay.
But The Family of Superman, The Superhero Team, and the Promise of Universal Citizenship, Flame On, Nuclear Families, Unstable Molecules, and the Queer History of the Fantastic Four.
I will confess to having flipped through that.
Oh, okay.
Before we started recording, I saw that downstairs, and I was flipping through it, and I immediately he's got plates in it for, it shows comic book frames from different periods for each one of the essays that he's got in there. And the ones about the Fantastic Four, very clearly he twigged to what you said in an early episode of this very podcast about the subversive nature of the Fan Four.
Of course, he got paid to do this.
We're throwing it out there.
But still,
giving away the milk.
I look forward to confirming my biases.
There you go.
But also, deepening my understanding of these things and looking at things that I haven't seen.
Indeed.
So that's what I'll be reading. Where can people find you on social medias?
People can find me on social media at EH Blaylock on the Twitter machine. Mm-hmm. You can find me also at EH Blaylock on Instagram and at Mr. Blaylock on TikTok. Where can they find you?
Take a look at Twitter and Instagram, and you'll find me at Duh Harmony, 2 H's in the middle. That's Duh Harmony. And other than that, that should be good enough. Every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m., I will be...
Pacific Daylight Time.
Yes. I will be doing Capital Punishment on twitch.tv/Capital Puns with my partner, Daniel Humbarger. And we have a pun tournament. It's been going for more than 5 years now. When my kids get vaccinated, I'll go back to doing it live. And so in the meantime, y'all can enjoy the fact that I am at home doing it. And then, yeah, that should do. I will be at the end of August, and I'll give more updates as it comes. I will be on the UK Pun-Off, which is a lot of fun during Fringe Festival. So,
nice.
Yeah. So that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, that'll do. So,
right.
And where can they find us? They want to correct your pronunciation
collectively we collectively can be found at Geek History of Time on Twitter.
Okay.
And our website, of course, is www.geekhistorytime.com.
Yeah.
So there you go. Please, wherever you are viewing us or listening to us from, please give us a 5-star rating because you know we deserve it.
Hell yeah.
And hit that subscribe button so that you don't have to go hunting for us again next time.
Exactly.
So you know where we are and you'll be able to continue to hear us on the regular.
Yeah, and you could go back and find the Fantastic Four episode amongst many others where we do all kinds of fantastic stuff. So it's a wonderful buffet. Like come for the asparagus, stay for the soft serve.
There you go.
So yeah. All right. Well, for Geek History of Time, I'm Damian Harmony.
And I'm Ed Blaylock. And until next time, remember, fear is the mind killer.